discuss.
If it doesn't, you know, obviously they're not taking it from the past, how could they say that?
Because maybe those people who say, okay, because they say from the time of Ahlul Bayt until now, we don't see one single woman as a marja, maybe. But this is not, maybe somebody says, no, this is not a good reason. So we have to discuss more about this. We cannot clarify it today. This is introduction to the fiqh, but there are many issues, yes. No, it is not somebody's decision. This is the reality. We don't have any other resources. Could you please tell me what kind of resources? We have only Quran and Hadith. That's it. Even Ahlul Sunnah. Even Ahlul Sunnah, when they say, okay, we have Quran and Hadith, but when they say ijma', for them, ijma' al-sahaba is like almost the same as ijma' al-ulama for us. Because ijma' al-ulama for us, for Shia, means that it goes back to Sunnah, to Hadith of Ahlul Bayt. But for them, ijma' al-sahaba goes back to Hadith of Rasulullah. But we say no, ijma' al-sahaba, there is no meaning for that. Because if all sahaba says one thing, maybe they are wrong. They are not ma'soom. All of sahaba are not ma'soom.
But in Sunnah, do we use the Sunnah of the companions or just the Imams and Prophets?
Just Imam and Prophets. And Prophet only. For us, for Shia or for Sunni? For Shia only Imams and Prophet. If, for example, a companion, a Sahaba says something, it should go back to Rasulullah or to Ahlul Bayt. For example, if we have hadith from Abu Dhar or from Salman, they are good Sahaba. But they mention from Rasulullah or they say, okay, we have heard this from Rasulullah or this. Yes?
What's the difference between aql and qiyas?
Okay, a little bit I'll discuss here, but it's a big discussion that when we say aql or logic, it is not analogy, it is reasoning. Any kind of using of aql in evaluation, in understanding hadith and Quran and all these things. So it is not an independent reason, it is not an independent hujjah. It is like an instrument, like a tool, helps us to understand Quran and to understand hadith. Okay? Yes, in some cases that we don't have hadith, we don't have Quran, and in ijtihad, in the process of ijtihad, we may rely on aql. But whenever we have hadith, whenever we have Quran, we have to follow those, and if we are using aql, we have to use aql because of understanding Quran and hadith. But qiyas for Ahlul Sunnah is a kind of resource. For example, they say, okay, we have hadith that if a thief, for example, let me give you an example. If a thief, for first time, he steals something, for example, we have to cut one finger. Let me just an example. For second time, we have to cut 2 fingers, or second finger. And that's it, and it stops. Qiyas says, okay, for third time, if he steals something, we have to cut the third one. But Shia says, no, this is qiyas, this is haram. It is not a reasoning, a good reasoning. It is not a good source. We cannot do like this. If we have hadith, yes. If not, we have to go to another reason, to another proof. So, in Ahlul Sunnah, qiyas and istihsan, there are many kinds of this kind of, for example, sharia or shari'iyat and fiqh. But in Shia, no, we don't rely on qiyas. But there are more discussion about this. Now, chapter and titles of fiqh, later on you'll read this part because I mentioned several chapters and several titles of fiqh, ibadat, ahkam, uqud, and iqa'at. Inshallah you will read and you will find more information about this. We go to second part, which is Usul al-Fiqh, which is very important for understanding and for fiqh. Please, you can start definition of Usul al-Fiqh.
Okay.
Usul al-Fiqh is the collection of principles pertaining to the methodology for the extraction of fiqh. The concept of Usul al-Fiqh is comparable to adhering to a methodology when conducting a scientific experiment. Similarly, adhering to a methodology in deriving fiqh rulings is referred to as Usul al-Fiqh. This methodology provides a way for a person to derive Islamic rulings from the legislative sources in Islam.
So generally speaking, we can say Usul al-Fiqh is a method or some rules to draw some Islamic law, fiqh. But I have more explanation about Usul al-Fiqh. You may continue. Usul al-Fiqh or Ilm al-Usul.
The science of principles of Islamic jurisprudence may be defined as the science dealing with the common elements in the procedure of deducing Islamic laws. Therefore, it is the science which discusses the elements which enter into different cases of deduction to derive laws on a variety of subjects. The study of the principles of jurisprudence, Usul al-Fiqh, is the most important branch of learning in preparation for jurisprudence. The relationship between the study of jurisprudence and its principles is the same as it is between the study of logic and philosophy. Hence, we deduce that Ilmul Usul and Ilmul Fiqh are interconnected in the process of deduction. Ilmul Fiqh deals with the process of deduction, whereas Ilmul Usul deals with the common elements in the process of deduction.
Yeah, some scholars says the relation between Usul al-Fiqh and Fiqh is exactly like the relation between al-Mantiq and Falsafa. Because when we learn Mantiq, logic, we want to understand philosophy. We want to use the principles of philosophy and issues of philosophy. But why we learn Mantiq, why we learn logic? Because we want to use logic in understanding philosophy. So logic by itself is not an independent science, is not a main goal for a scientist, for a scholar. They learn logic like they learn, for example, grammar to understand Arabic. They learn Nahv and Sarf to use Arabic language. So they learn logic to understand philosophy and mysticism and irfan. Also for Usul al-Fiqh, they learn Usul al-Fiqh to understand fiqh and to do the process of ijtihad and tafaqquh. The meaning of ijtihad. We go and skip to the meaning of, yes, you can read the meaning of ijtihad. What does it mean?
From the early days of Islam, another word that is more or less synonymous with the word fiqh, and which has been in common use amongst Muslims, is the word ijtihad. In the Muslim world today, especially the Shia world, the words faqih and mujtahid are synonymous with each other. The word ijtihad is from the root juht, which means utter striving. For this reason, a faqih is also called a mujtahid, since he must use all his efforts in deducing Islamic laws of the Sharia. Can I continue?
Yes.
Everybody knows that it is his duty to follow the Islamic law. Naturally, a man who does not know whether a particular act is obligatory, forbidden, or permissible, according to Islamic teaching, cannot be sure what practical attitude he should adopt in regard to that particular act. For this reason, it is necessary to set up a science that may look into each and every case and state with proof what practical attitude one should adopt in regards to it according to the Islamic law.
Very good. So when we talk about ijtihad is